Tipp today, in association with Slattery's of Pecan, your main Peugeot dealer for over 50 years in the Premier County. Slattery'sGarage.ie.
Good morning, welcome along to Tipp Today. 1800 938 007, our free phone number if you want to give us a call. And Leanne is producing. Coming up on the show today, we'll be going live to a Tipperary man living in Abu Dhabi in just a few moments' time. Adele Carey, a wheelchair user from Rossgrey, travelled to Dublin over the weekend for a protest. Deputy Alan Kelly will speak to us after 10 o'clock. Former US Air Force pilot Bernie Goldbach gives us his perspective on the US-Israeli attacks on Iran and, of course, the fallout from that. I'll be chatting to Cathy O'Donovan, who is retiring from St Anne's in Rossgrey after 47 years of service. All of that and much, much more on the way we'll be doing our Dear Phil slot as well. You can text and WhatsApp 083 311 3311. You can email tiptoday@tippfm.com. Quick look at the front pages, and as you can imagine, it's all about what's been happening in the Middle East. The Irish Independent, their lead story, the big wave is yet to come in the war with Iran. US President Donald Trump warned as concerns mounted over a prolonged conflict that could spread through the Middle East. And the Irish Times, turmoil spreads across the Gulf amid fears of a protracted war is their headline there. They're also telling us that the number of Dubliners using bicycles on an almost daily basis has increased by 50% in just 2 years. That's according to the National Transport Authority. The Irish Daily Mail, thousands of Irish citizens register for help in the Middle East. Thousands of Irish citizens have registered with the government as being stranded in the Middle East in order to be prioritised for future evacuations. And finally, a look at the Irish Examiner, and their main headline is "Conflict Spreads Across the Middle East." And the front page is dominated by a photograph of smoke from a strike in Tehran yesterday, and again, very ominous looking, and it looks like something from a movie. Also, Liz, reading on the Examiner today that new taser guns provided to the Gardaí have yet to be discharged, nearly 3 months into a new pilot project. And while tasers have been drawn as a de-escalation tool 4 times since mid-December, Gardaí and the Minister for Justice, Jim O'Callaghan, confirmed that they have yet to be used. So that's a look at what's making headlines today. Do you want to make comment on any of that? And if you do, 083 311 3311. Now, Irish authorities are considering busing citizens stranded in the United Arab Emirates to Oman before flying them home if flights from Dubai and Abu Dhabi remain heavily restricted because of the Iran conflict. I'm glad to be joined now by Stephen O'Brien from Annacarty, who has been teaching in Abu Dhabi for a number of years. Good morning to you, Stephen.
Good morning, Fran.
And really good to talk to you today. And how are you? And what's the atmosphere like there in Abu Dhabi, Stephen?
It's actually pretty calm, Fran, all things considered. Like, everyone's being very cautious at the moment. We're advised to be indoors because of still there's missiles coming in daily, like. But the first 24 hours were definitely the worst of the hits. Saturday, when we got a notification on my phone just following the Sky News that the war had started between Iran and Israel, when I was actually in the city when I saw that notification, and then I'd say it was only an hour later when I landed back. I live in a villa there. There's actually 8 of us living in it.
Yeah.
And we were all sitting around the sitting room, and then we heard the first interception, missile being intercepted. I said it was me and my 2 housemates were just sitting down in the sitting room, and you could hear the door started shaking and the windows just a loud bang, like something you never experienced before. And the waves, they kept coming then for the first 24 hours, but it seems to have eased a lot now since. Definitely has eased a lot since. You still get emergency alerts. The government there's an application here that the government, that you have to download for the government. It's called the Ministry of Interior application. And emergency alerts come in then roughly a couple of minutes before the missile comes from Iran and is intercepted. So you're actually expecting the missile to be intercepted before it's intercepted, if that makes sense.
And can you actually see the interception in the sky, Stephen?
Where I live now, it wouldn't be too far from the US, the Al Dafra base. It's about 25 minutes away. I live in Khalifa City, so it actually, the missiles were coming in straight overhead the villa. You could actually see them in the sky.
Wow.
I didn't see any being intercepted now. On Saturday, you could see the missiles very clearly, but then Sunday and Monday, you could hear them being intercepted, but it was hard to see them.
As I said in the introduction, Stephen, you've been teaching there for a number of years. What's the story with school and the like? I mean, has everything shut down for the moment?
School is online now. So I had to teach 3 lessons online yesterday and the same today, just 3 lessons for 30 minutes. I let the kids log in, and it's nearly more important for the kids to have their own social interaction between themselves for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's just as important as the content you're teaching them at the moment. But we were supposed to have school up until March 13th, but that's cancelled now. We'll say I only have to teach lessons online tomorrow, and then there's no school Thursday or Friday or any of next week.
And what about the young people that you're teaching, Stephen? What are you hearing from them, or are they speaking about this?
Well, see, like, it does feel very safe here at the moment. Like, it's not actually really affecting us. I know now the falling debris might affect, like, obviously why we're getting the alerts is that the falling debris might affect us, but I think the kids are generally feeling safe enough. They're at home, they're with their families.
Yeah.
The government are keeping in touch with us regularly. Like, it still feels very safe here and kind of controlled in a kind of a weird way, you know.
I was speaking to a man from Dubai yesterday. He's involved in an investment company out there. But he was of the opinion that we're playing it up too much on this side of the world, and we're sort of making it bigger than it is in the Gulf states. What do you make of that comment, Stephen?
Yeah, I do agree with him. Like, as citizens or civilians living here in Abu Dhabi, the strikes aren't targeted at us at all. I know we're hearing loud interceptions and we can see the missile strikes, but that in itself is definitely frightening for anyone living in Abu Dhabi. But there's definitely places in the world that are suffering a lot more than us now.
Yeah, I'm just looking at, I'm not sure if you could hear my introduction having a look through the newspapers, but I mean, the headlines are amazing. You know, turmoil spreads across the Gulf amid fears of a protracted war. The Irish Daily Mail there with thousands of Irish citizens register for help in the Middle East, and they want to be prioritised for evacuation. That's the kind of tone of what we're reading in the newspapers. Is that over the top as far as you're concerned?
Well, looking at the news definitely doesn't make you feel any better here. It just, you kind of start thinking the worst. But see, I suppose why most people are frightened at the moment out here is because we don't really know what's to come or when we'll be able to go home. It's now you start thinking of your family and your friends and about going home a lot more, like in a situation like this. But at the moment, it definitely feels very safe here. People are being very cautious, staying indoors. When they get alerts that there's missiles coming, we're expecting a loud bang. That's about it. Like, there's shops are running normally, services are still open, you can still go to the gym. The government are well on top of things. Like, everyone feels very safe. So unless things get worse, at the moment, everyone just feels very safe.
Have you registered with the Irish government in the event that evacuation might be necessary, Stephen?
Yes, I did, Fran. We were all advised to do that. So
yeah.
I have that done.
Yeah,
which is important.
And your friends around you there and your housemates and the like. I guess this is this the big topic of conversation all of the time now?
The first 24 hours, we were always just sitting around watching the news, waiting for what was to come, like, and how it was escalating. But since now, I've tried to stop looking at the news and Twitter and any social media applications, because there's an awful lot of lies on Twitter, and I know now I'm only on Twitter at the moment, but there's an awful lot of lies and misleading information on Twitter. So it's nearly better just to listen to government protocols and precautions, and they're being very proactive at the moment. So
and that idea that, you know, they might bus people to Oman from places like Abu Dhabi and Dubai and the like. What does that make any sense to you, that, you know, they might have chartered flights leaving from Oman?
Yeah, I know. There's flights starting to depart again now, so it would cross your mind about going home for a period of time with all this going on. Yeah, maybe people in Abu Dhabi might be thinking they could be better off, be definitely safer at home with all this going on. But like airports here in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, they're massive stopover airports. You'd imagine they can't be closed for too much longer, because there's a lot of people stranded here too. You'd hear Irish people over on holidays and people like coming from Australia or Dublin that are just here for a layover and they can't finish their journey. Is very hard on them people too.
Yeah. If you could get back home, Stephen, would you at this point, do you think?
You definitely be thinking about it now. I know that's a lot of us here are thinking about it. Especially, you'd be afraid it might get worse. So with the Easter holidays coming up for me in March 13th, I would be thinking about going home, yeah.
Well, I can guarantee you get a great welcome in Annacarty anyway. That's for sure, Stephen. It was really, really good to talk to you today, Stephen, and do be safe out there, and thanks for making time for us this morning, Stephen.
Okay, friend. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Take good care of yourself. Bye-bye. And that's Annacarty man, Stephen O'Brien there, speaking to us from Abu Dhabi today. 1800 938 007. A listener on to say, good morning, friend. My daughter and her husband are living in Dubai. They just had their first baby boy on the 19th of February. Myself and my other daughter were supposed to travel on the 13th of March, but I'm not sure now will that happen. My daughter in Dubai is anxious as they watched the missiles overhead, and of course with a new baby it's not a great start for them. All we can do is hope and pray that they're all safe. I love the show, says Magella, who is an anxious mom as she describes herself. Back in just a moment.
Tipp FM's Tip Today.
With Slattery's Garage, Puck On. Main Peugeot dealers in the Premier County. And now stocking the full range of the luxury French car brand DS Automobiles. Book your test drive today with Slattery's Garage, Puck On. See slatterysgarage.ie.